So if you're going to watch the tournament this weekend, we can definitely watch Marcelo. All the drama that happened with Marcelo and him getting cut or something like that from Impact and then joining Tampa Bay Damage, that will for sure be interesting to watch. Damage and Impact, though, we're not going to be facing each other in the prelims. They're in totally different brackets. So if we see an Impact Damage matchup, it will not be until Sunday, if either of those teams do make it on, which I assume they will. You know, Damage and Impact, two of the better teams. And Damage might have one of the best rosters in the league now. Also, very interesting to watch is Paintball Fit have won the last 3 tournaments. So can they make it 4 in a row? I don't know when the last team won 4 in a row was. I mean, it's probably going to be Dynasty. Leverage, interestingly enough, have gotten last all the tournaments this year, so they've gotten 20th place. So hopefully Leverage, can play a little bit better and get themselves out of that last place. In the last tournament, they only scored a single point. Not very good. Something interesting we noticed also, I was going through the stats today, and over on, I'll show you guys real quick. We'll try to do that really quick at least. Player ranking, there we go. So I used all these. I was looking at these earlier, and I used all the player stats, and it's not like crazy, it's just wins, losses, and ties, to see how many points they played versus how many points the teams won and stuff like that. And one of the things I found kind of interesting was Arsenal actually have the second highest point win percentage. So out of all the points that they've played this year, they actually have the second highest win percentage. And here are all your win percentages for all of the 20 pro teams. We can see Paintball Fit up there almost at 62%, winning 62% of their games. And then Arsenal in there at 55.8 over Damage and Dynasty, Impact, Heat, X Factor, Ironman, AC Diesel, and the Tauntauns, which is interesting because the Tauntauns actually won a tournament this year. It just kind of shows you that you can have a really good tournament. You can win a bunch of points. You can slaughter your opponents. You can, mercy rule them every time. It could be 6-0 in the first whole, prelims. But then when you get to the point where the ones that matter, you have to be able to win those. It's just like Arsenal, right? Arsenal won a majority of their points they've played in the prelims, right? They win most of those, or, a little over half, we should say. But when they get to those, games on Sundays in the quarterfinals or whatever, they're just losing by 1 point. So even though you can have like a really good win percentage, you really kind of have to be able to convert those over in those matches that matter, right? So, I'm not 100% sure, but you could say that Arsenal, maybe in the prelims, Arsenal's been playing, New York Extreme. They played Leverage. They're playing those teams that, don't have a good win percentage. So that helps boost their win percentage. But then when they face another team that's got a good win percentage, like Impact or, Dynasty, maybe it's been a little bit more rough for them going into those, or rough for them in those Sunday games. It's just a little something I noticed. I wanted to try to do more stat stuff. And this is kind of interesting. You can see Leverage, just how bad Leverage have been. I mean, 14%. 14% is pretty bad. It's interesting, too. You notice that other teams in here you'd think would be higher, right? I mean, you see Red Legion being pretty low there. Red Legion just played so well last year. So freaking well last year that it's kind of like maybe a little surprising that they're not higher on there. And those are some games to watch. There's maybe some... No, I don't think so. Those are probably the best matches. The ones that I find the most interesting, at least. I really like to watch the Tauntauns. And also really like to watch Red Legion. So it's kind of why Tauntauns and Aftershock are that first one. Impact and Ironman should be good. That's just some of the better, interesting matchups. I want to watch Impact. That's their Impact's first matchup. We get to kind of see what they look like without Marcelo. AC Diesel and Red Legion. That should just be good to watch. Houston Heat and Paintball Fit. The Battle of Texas. Dynasty playing Arsenal. I kind of like, highlighted that just because Arsenal had been playing so well in those prelim matches, kind of like we said with that win percentage. Red Legion and Tauntauns, just because I like Red Legion and Tauntauns. Impact and X Factor. Why did I put Impact and X Factor? Just because that's one of the better matchups, I think, that day. There's not much crazy. I think it was a little bit harder to find cool matches on Saturday. Paintball Fit and Leverage Play. That's just interesting because it's the best team versus the worst team. And Dynasty and Damage. We'll get a first look, not a first look, but really the last look of the prelims at Marcelo on Damage playing Dynasty.